There ain't no medals on my chest, assholes, because I ain't no hero. I'm a fireman.
All right, guys. So this is episode 2 or episode 3, part 2. The program that I use only allows 15-minute episodes, and I went over that. So we'll have a part 2 if that's okay with you guys. I don't really care. It's going to happen anyways. So I started saying how, so we started with how, we talked about getting the win, getting a save, getting, the rescue or whatever. And then we started talking about how we are adapting in the fire service as far as with mental health and, our fire gear. So I know for me, my coping mechanism, at least what initially helps me, is first thing I do is I come home and usually I call my dad. Usually I call him and like, hey, I give him a warning. I give him a heads up, like, hey, this is what happened. I'm feeling pretty beat up about it. I'm gonna lay something that's pretty heavy on you, so get yourself ready. And he does a good job. He listens, and he was a preacher once upon a time. I guess once a preacher, always a preacher. But he's also my dad. So like I said, he does a good job. He listens, and he doesn't try to chime in and sometimes people with good intentions will try to find the right thing to say, and then they end up saying the wrong thing, if that makes sense. And I've learned dealing with families on calls and and fatalities and stuff like that, sometimes it's just best to say nothing. Sometimes it's best to just be there and listen. And my dad does a good job with that. So yeah, usually I'll call him, lay the heavy stuff on him first, and then once I kind of get through that, then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk to my wife, tell her the story, and that way I've gotten through the tough part, the first initial, purge of emotion and feelings and stuff. I have trouble processing my own emotions anyways. But yeah, then I tell my wife, and usually after that, after a day or two, I'm good to go, But the problem with when like I was telling you about the rash of bad calls that we had, the problem is doing that process over and over and over and over again. And eventually that just wears on you, it beats you up, and all that gets built up and pent up because it's not that you don't have time to process it. It's just you're still in the process of processing, and then you're getting pushed back to the beginning. I guess it's like trying to watch a movie and make your way through the movie, and somebody keeps hitting the rewind button halfway through. You know what I mean? It's frustrating. But that's what works for me. Some guys will go out and take some guns out to the range and send some lead down range, or some guys will just lock themselves in the room and blare music or whatever. Whatever. Find whatever works for you and do it. Give yourself the time to process. Give yourself the time to get yourself right. After we had the car versus pedestrian, like I said, I didn't go on the second crash. That first one, that car versus pedestrian really beat me up. So I told the guys, okay, I'm shutting my pager off for the night. If we get something else, I'm not coming to the station. I'm gonna take the night off. And I remember my phone went off for the second call, and I looked at it and I saw it didn't say anything about entrapment or anything like that. It just read, vehicle crash or whatever. And I kind of flinched for a minute, thinking about going. And my wife looks at me. She says, "You're not going. You're not right. You need to hang back." I'm like, "Okay, you're right." So I shut my phone off, rolled over, went back to sleep, and got up the next morning. And once I heard what it was, I was just beating myself up. I was kicking myself in the nuts. Like, man, like I really dropped the ball. I just felt awful. The call, not only was the call really bad, but they were understaffed. I think they rolled with 6 guys, and 2 of them were pulled off because they knew the individual. So really there was only 4 guys that were able to operate on the call, and it was a very extensive extrication, and I just felt terrible, and I had some serious thoughts of quitting, because I felt like I let the guys down. I've had that through my time. I've had that thought quite a bit when I first started having issues with PTSD. When I finally reached my breaking point, I'm not proud of it, but I was home alone. My wife was at work, and I was texting her, playing it off like everything was cool, and I had my shotgun. I loaded it around in the chamber, safety off, finger on the trigger, just ready. I was done. I was ready to go, and I had barreled the shotgun in my mouth, and like I said, I was texting my wife, playing off like everything was cool. And to this day, she doesn't remember doing it, and I don't know how she even knew something was up, but she just had a sense that something was wrong. So she called our assistant chief, who's retired now. He lived just a couple houses down from us. She called him and said, "Hey, something's not right with Matt. Can you go to the house and check on him?" And he pretty much kicked the door in and found me, and he drugged my ass to the hospital. And that's when we started getting treatment. And when all that was going on, like I said, I felt weak. I felt like something was wrong with me, and I also, once again, I felt like I let the guys down. Like they're relying on me to hang in there and be part of the solution to to these problems, and I can't hack it. I can't. So I almost quit. I was ready to go, and if it wasn't for it was a lieutenant at the time. He's our assistant chief now, and our current fire chief. They both kind of told me, like, "Hey man, like, it's okay. What you got going on is okay. You're human. Take your time, get yourself right. But if we hate to lose you, but if you gotta go. But at the same time, like, we need you, man. So that was a gut check for me. And then, when those 2 crashes happened and I missed the second one, that was a serious gut check for me. Like, once again, I felt like I let the guys down. And then, it was a serious gut check. I'm still hanging in, and I guess it's a good thing, because now I am very, very passionate and passionate about really breaking that stigma and encouraging people. If you're having trouble, like, reach out. It's okay. If you are having some serious issues, you're thinking, man, I can't do this anymore. or you're having thoughts of suicide, or even not even thoughts of suicide, you're just thinking, if you're having thoughts of, the world would be better off without me, why am I even here? Reach out, ask for help. I used to think it was a sign of weakness, but having been there and been through it, that is one of the biggest signs of strength, that I can think of. It takes a stronger person to reach out and say, hey, I need help, and if there's anybody out there who's listening to this and is having these issues and you don't know who to reach out to, by all means, hit me up. I'll do my best to talk with you and point you in the right direction. There are programs out there. There are ways to get help. And we really need to get better at it. And losing one person to suicide is one too many, as far as I'm concerned. It's just simply unacceptable in my head. So, yeah, reach out. Like I said, you're more than welcome to contact me. Like I said, I'll do my best to talk to you and get you pointed in the right direction, and we'll help get you right. So, all right, guys. Well, this is like I said, this is episode 3, part 2. Thank you again for the love and support. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned. There's more to come. All right, guys. Thanks. See ya.